Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Syndrome, and coming to you here tonight with my thoughts on Wrestlemania. Yeah, I know I'm a little bit late to the party, but I've been a bit busy in the last couple of days, so this really was the first moment that I had to make a video about it. So let's get to it. As you know, both from my preview videos and the last couple of Raw and SmackDown episodes, I wasn't too thrilled about this WrestleMania. I was a little bit, as always, thrilled about it, but I thought the build-up lacked a lot to be desired, so I wasn't too excited. So let's see whether those predictions of mine panned out, or whether it was actually a lot better than I thought. Now, so first off, we have Wade Barrett versus The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. But since I didn't see the pre-show, I didn't actually get to see the match. So I can only really talk about the outcome, which was a victory for The Miz. So we got ourselves a new Intercontinental Champion, as I predicted. But yeah, like I said, since I didn't see the match, don't really have much else to say about this, and so let's just move on to the first match of the actual pay-per-view. So the first match I did get to see was, of course, The Shield versus Sheamus, Randy Orton, and The Big Show, which was a win for The Shield. And overall, it was a decent enough match. Not quite as good as the last few matches of The Shield, which is a bit of a shame, of course, definitely considering that this was their WrestleMania moment. But yeah, overall, like I said, it wasn't a bad match. It was properly wrestled and had some exciting moments in it. And I particularly liked the end of it with the Big Show knocking out both Sheamus and Randy Orton, because it sets up for some potentially interesting things in the future. We'll have to wait and see about that, of course. But yeah, other than that, a decent opener. Maybe not the best stone setter they could have picked as an opening match, but overall, yeah, it's a fairly decent start. And next up, we have Ryback versus Mark Henry. And I gotta admit, I don't really get this match. We get to see a Mark Henry victory, which was against what I predicted. I really predicted a Ryback win. And to be honest, he should have won. I see no reason whatsoever to have Mark Henry win this match. I mean, we still now have Ryback with not a single, proper pay-per-view victory. And how many more losses can they feed this guy before he just loses any and all credibility whatsoever? So, big mistake in my opinion. They should have just let Ryback win this one. Instead, okay, fair enough. In the end, Ryback was the guy left standing after the match as he shell-shocked Mark Henry, which was, by the way, pretty impressive. But yeah, overall, just yet another loss on his record, and this isn't good. I mean, they really need to let this guy win something at a pay-per-view, or they're gonna be in trouble. He's gonna be practically worthless in a couple of months if they keep letting him lose. But yeah, what can I say about the match itself? The match itself was pretty poor, to be honest. Yeah, it's two big guys doing what two big guys do. They brawled for a little bit, a couple of strikes, a few holds, but just nothing spectacular. And the ending was really even worse. I mean, Ryback going for shell shock and instead getting flattened by Mark Henry. Yeah, I mean, they didn't even bother to let Mark Henry do his finisher. Just fall on him, and there you go. You got a victory. WrestleMania moment. Yep. So yeah, overall, yeah, this match not very great. But let's move on. So next up, we've got the tag team championship match. Team Hell No going up against Biggie Langston and Dolph Ziggler. And again, a very average match. And this was one of those matches that I actually predicted was going to be really, really good. But to be honest, we didn't really get to see much of the guys that I thought were going to bring a big match feel, and that was, Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler. I mean, they did get a little bit of action in there, but yeah, just overall, it wasn't really all that impressive, which a little bit of a missed opportunity. But still, it was a good enough match. I definitely wasn't overly disappointed by it, but it could have been a lot better. Also, this Biggie Langston, his debut now, I wasn't really too impressed with him, and maybe that's just personal preference because he's just another, big guy as far as I'm concerned. And I think we really have enough of those right now as is. And to be honest, in his current role, he's doing a good job, but when he strikes out on his own after this gimmick is over of being bodyguard to Dolph Ziggler, I can't really see the guy really making it on his own, and I'm kind of fearing that he's gonna wind up either being a big man heel jobber, or quite possibly just getting fired at some point during the line. So yeah, who knows? I could be wrong. The guy didn't look extremely bad or anything, but just wasn't anything impressive. Pretty much like the rest of the match, to be honest. So, yeah, missed opportunity, guys. Could have been a great match, but sadly enough. And so we come to the match that I predicted was going to be the match of the evening, which is Fandango versus Chris Jericho. And sadly enough, I was wrong. Yeah, these guys, it wasn't a bad match, definitely not. It was actually a pretty good match, but I was still greatly disappointed by it because, to be honest, I was expecting a lot more from these guys. And yeah, this is mainly thanks to decisions of the WWE because the match itself, first of all, was just way too short. And second of all, Fandango barely was, allowed to get any of offense in there. So that was the main reason I was so excited about this match, is to see what this guy could do. And yeah, basically all we got to see was Chris Jericho doing his thing, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, I love Chris Jericho and he's a great wrestler, but I wanted to see Fandango do some fancy stuff. But to be honest, the most fancy thing about this entire match was Fandango's entrance. So yeah, that's saying something. The entrance was pretty awesome, though. Let's face it. Bunch of women going for dancing, yeah, I like. But again, very disappointing. It wasn't bad, but could have been so much better. But anyways, moving on. And then next up we have the World Heavyweight Championship fight, which is between, of course, Alberto Del Rio and Jack Swagger. Now, again, a very average match, which is starting to set kind of a tone here for this WrestleMania, to be honest. I mean, pretty much every match we've had wasn't really bad, but definitely wasn't awesome either. So far, it's all been very average. And yeah, like I said, this match, no exception. We saw some fairly decent stuff and some interesting action, but overall, there just wasn't any, big whoa WrestleMania moment. So yeah, again, a bit of a missed opportunity. So yeah, sadly enough, really, so far, it's not looking all that great. But, the main events are still to come, of course, our three main matches. So, who knows? Those were actually the matches I was, least excited about, but you never know. They might still save the evening. It is very much possible. Alright, so Undertaker versus CM Punk is up next. Yeah, do I even need to say it? To be honest, a very average match again. Um, it was better than I expected, though. I'll have to say that. To be honest, I wasn't really expecting all that much from this match. I mean, the promos leading up to the match were all pretty damn good. From Raw and SmackDowns in the past month were all pretty good, and yeah, had me a little bit excited for the match. But like I said, I wasn't really sure that the Undertaker still just had it in him to go for an entire match. Well, I'm happy to see that I was wrong in that regard. The Undertaker, he didn't look as good as he did in the previous years, but he definitely still looked like he was up for the entire match. So, okay, fair enough. But yeah, overall, I think this match kind of lacked the same intensity that many of the promos had leading up to the match. So that is a little bit of a shame. I mean, we had these promos that showed the Undertaker being so very angry with CM Punk and going to eviscerate him and take his soul. And yeah, what we got was a fairly lackluster match if you consider that. But overall, the match was decent enough. Though. I mean, I don't really have much to complain about this match overall, given that the Undertaker hasn't wrestled for an entire year. Well, not publicly anyway. Um, yeah, it was good enough for what it was, and I'm sure there were quite a couple of people that enjoyed it. I do want to note one thing though. Again, maybe this is just me, but the Undertaker's entrance just gets more ridiculous with every passing year, doesn't it? I mean, now they had what, like souls trying to grab him as he was walking down the ramp. What? Seriously? Yeah, okay. I know it's his entire team, but still, I mean, to me, The Undertaker is, lights go out, lightning hits, and he comes strolling down, with his long trench coat and his cool hat. And yeah, that's The Undertaker for me. And now we got a bald guy with a hood and some strange attire that kind of reminds me of the Shredder from the Ninja Turtles. And yeah, he's getting grabbed by souls on the ramp while he's being surrounded by mist and fire. And oh, gee, seriously, guys, just you had something good going. Just take it easy. But again, maybe that's just me. But I much preferred his older entrances. They were a bit more interesting to me, and were had a lot more mystique to them than this. This is just effects for the heck of it. So also, while he was having his entrance, having fireworks go off in the sky again. For The Undertaker, it just really doesn't fit his theme, to be honest. I mean, I'm all for fireworks. I like fireworks. Fireworks pretty, yeah, for sure. But for The Undertaker, it just doesn't really feel right. But yeah, never mind that. Let's move on to the next match. So then we get to Triple H versus Brock Lesnar, which, in my opinion, takes the takes home the match of the evening. Yep, hands down even. I mean, surprisingly enough, this match was definitely the best one there was to watch, as far as I'm concerned. Um, which is very very strange because I wasn't expecting much from this match at all. To be honest, I mean, I was pretty excited about this match, but really only because I knew Shawn Michaels was gonna be there, and I was really interested to see, whether or not he was gonna get involved in some way or another, and so yeah, but the actual match, I didn't expect anything from. And to be honest, yeah, surprisingly enough, Triple H and Brock Lesnar put up a pretty high intensity and high impact match, and it was actually a lot of fun to watch. But really, as far as I'm concerned, the only match during this entire WrestleMania that actually had a couple of moments that really made me go like, oh yeah, yeah, that's right. I'm watching WrestleMania. Oh, okay. So yeah, good job on this match. And personally, I wish Heyman and Shawn Michaels would have been a little bit more involved in the match. That probably would have made it a little bit better still. But yeah, overall, I can't really complain about this match. Definitely not. For a match I had very, very low expectations of, it turned out to be a really, really good match. So, yeah, great. Let's move on to our main event, shall we? So, yes, the main event, John Cena versus The Rock for the WWE Championship. The match, I was expecting absolutely nothing from, because I didn't care about it at all. And well, they didn't really show all that much anyway. It was again, yes, again, a very average match. Not all that bad, but again, nothing really WrestleMania worthy. Um, Definitely to open up the start of the match was, yeah, kind of boring. The build up in the match was a little bit too slow at the start, and they should have gone to the actual interesting part a little bit faster. But yeah, in the actual end of the match wasn't great either. I'm not a big fan of these false finishes and all these finishes leading into counter, leading into another finisher, leading into another counter. It just doesn't work for me. I mean, it takes away from a finisher being a finisher. I mean, The Rock hit at least what like 5 or 6 rock bottoms on John Cena, and I think 2 people's elbows or something. And it kicked out every single time. It's like, so yeah, that's your big finisher, and you do it like 5 times, and every time it's a kick out. There's not much of a finisher. I know it's the WrestleMania main event, so they need to have a couple of big finishers and big kickouts, but I think they really went a little bit overboard this time. I mean, both The Rock and John Cena kicked out just way too much, and they could have really done with a couple more minutes of just normal solid action instead of all these finishers. I mean, pretty basically the last 5, 6, 7 minutes of the match was pretty basically all finishers, counters, and pinfalls. I mean, that was basically it. So, yeah, wasn't really all too impressed by that. But yeah, like I said, I was expecting absolutely nothing. So, to be honest, it exceeded my expectations. It was still a fairly decent match. Again, very average, like the rest of the show. So Yeah, a good way to end WrestleMania? Nope. Definitely not, definitely not. And which was made even worse, of course, by the fact that, as predicted, John Cena walks out the winner and the new WWE Championship. Hey, we get another John Cena Championship reign. I can hardly wait. Yeah. Well, never mind all that. But really, the actual ending sequence of WrestleMania, I didn't like at all. I mean, the show of respect, them shaking hands and, playing The Rock's team for a little bit, even though he lost, is so good to me. But them afterwards, the Rock walking back up the ramp and then standing there hand in hand with Cena, them both holding up the title and that stuff like that. It's just why? I mean, to be honest, I was at that point starting to feel, physically ill just watching that side. I mean, these two standing next to each other as if the WWE was going to say, these guys are now really equals. Because we all know The Rock is definitely in, John Cena's league. I think they're about the same or something. Yeah, pretty sure. So yeah, I don't like Cena. I don't really have anything against him, or I definitely don't hate him or something. But come on, he's not in the Rock's league. I mean, stop pretending like he is. Yeah, he's the face of the WWE right now, but only because a lot of the kids really like him. And that's the problem with kids. Give it like 10 years or something, and all these kids, they're going to have forgotten about John Cena. And, that's the thing that makes guys like The Rock and Stone Cold and HBK so great. You know, in their own time, they were very popular, but just overall very popular. Just basically everyone almost liked them. I can't say everyone because, for every for every guy that really loves a superstar, there's gonna be another guy that says like, that guy, never mind that guy. But that's something that you don't have with John Cena now because most of the actual hardcore fans are the ones that are booing Cena. So, and these kids, yeah, well, like I said, in 10 years they're gonna go like, oh yeah, John Cena. Oh, yeah, I can remember that guy. I used to be a big fan of him, but yeah, I don't really care about him much anymore now. So, personally, I don't think, in 10 years we're gonna see stuff like we're seeing from The Rock right now, the big return from John Cena. I mean, it is possible, but I somewhat doubt it, to be honest. But yeah, that's it for the last match. So, what did I think of the show overall? So, yes, overall, this show was, you guessed it, very, very average. Yeah, I can imagine any time in my life that I've had to use the word average more than I have with this review of WrestleMania, to be honest. I mean, pretty much every single match that we've had, apart from the Triple H versus Brock Lesnar match, was just really not that great. I mean, there weren't any actual bad matches in my opinion. There wasn't any match on the card that really made me go like, oh, geez, did I really just watch that? I mean, yeah. No, I mean, most of the matches just kind of made me go like, oh, yeah, okay, I don't know, it was a decent match, but yeah. And, that's not the kind of response you want from a WrestleMania match, of course. I mean, WrestleMania is supposed to be, back to the rafters with just absolutely fantastic matches. And sadly enough, that was greatly missing from the show this year. Also, yeah, there were a lot less, other things happening. No big standout moments. I mean, for example, Dolph Ziggler didn't cash in his briefcase, as I predicted, which again, a very missed opportunity to just have a big WrestleMania moment. I mean, everything about this WrestleMania was very predictable. It was just people doing their thing, and to be honest, it kind of looked more like an episode of Raw than it actually did a good pay per view. And yeah, from the show of the year, that's really disappointing. So yeah, I gotta say I'm very disappointed by this WrestleMania. I really am. I mean, like I said, I wasn't expecting all that much, but yeah, this was just still below my expectations, to be honest. Because I was expecting, uh, quite a bit above average, most of the matches, and definitely matches like the tag team championship, Fandango versus Jericho. All those matches I thought were gonna be quite good, and yeah, they turned out to be, pretty much bust. So yeah, it's a really big shame and a really big missed opportunity for them to give us a swerve somewhere in there. But yeah, that's what it is. The WrestleMania was very predictable this year, which is shown by my prediction records. To be honest, I had every single match properly predicted, except for one, which was the Ryback versus Mark Henry match, which um, which Mark Henry won instead of Ryback, but which still basically had Ryback, left standing at the end of the match. So you can basically still chalk that up as a win for him. And in that case, I had a perfect record. Let's just stick with that perfect record. Yeah. So yeah, overall, if you can so very easily predict how every match is gonna end, then that takes away a lot of the excitement of watching something like WrestleMania. I mean, for example, if the our main event, the Rock vs Cena, if you didn't know for 99% certainty that John Cena was gonna win, then all those false finishes and stuff like that might have actually made the match pretty exciting. But the simple fact of the matter is, we all knew John Cena was gonna win, so every time we saw The Rock hit his rock bottom or the people's elbow, we knew like, yeah, okay, cool, he hit his finisher, but it's not gonna be the finish. So, yeah, overall, WrestleMania this year, yeah, not that great. So, let's hope that this is really, as they say usually around WrestleMania, the end of an era, and that from now on out, we're gonna get better stuff. Really disappointing, guys. But yeah, that's what it is. That was WrestleMania, and yeah, I've already actually watched Raw for this week, so you can expect a video of that either later on or most likely tomorrow. And yeah, until then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.